Hi, and welcome to the fourth episode of Hitech Farmer, the best show for young people wanting to learn about agriculture. Today, I'll be having a talk with Donny Greens, who's the leader of the microgreens industry. He started his business 6 years ago, and since then, he had 4 different farms. Enjoy the show. So, hi, can you give us a quick introduction of yourself?
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me. So, my name is Donny Greens. I'm an urban farmer. I grow what's called microgreens, which are very young plants, high nutrient density. And I've been doing this for about 6 years at this point. Started off in my parents' basement, just learning how to grow these little foods, and then moved into another urban farm, and then my third urban farm. And now at this point, I'm actually building out my fourth and final urban farm in the house that I'm living in now, which is my grandparents' house. So this is actually where my passion for fresh food came from, just picking string beans off the vine in the garden. And I guess that had a big impact on me because over time, I realized I wanted to be an entrepreneur and work for myself. But then I also discovered I had this kind of passion for agriculture and this fresh food stuff. So that's kind of how I ended up where I am. I was searching the internet, what can I grow and start a business? And eventually I came across microgreens, and it was something that I could actually execute on. And that's exactly what I did about 6 years ago. So that's a little bit of my story.
And why did you choose exactly microgreens and not, for example, salad or something like that?
Well, what was great about microgreens was that, at the time I didn't really have any money. I didn't have any space. I was still living at my parents' house. So it seemed like microgreens was just kind of like the easiest, most turnkey option and solution to actually get into agriculture, the field of agriculture, at an entrepreneurial level. So because it didn't require a lot of time, money, resources, because they were pretty easy to grow, I was able to kind of jump in and actually get it done. So it seemed like a really good opportunity there. And then at the same time, I was being taught to sell to chefs, but at the same time as I was learning about this business opportunity, I was also learning about living foods, which is sprouts, microgreens, and wheatgrass, along with their health benefits. And I realized business is all about value exchange, right? I'm going to be expecting revenue coming in exchange for the value that I'm giving out for my company. So I figured, hey, the real value of these crops are in the health benefits, right? We have the health industry is just booming, vegan, vegetarian, all that stuff. And it seemed like that was kind of a better opportunity. I was also more passionate about that, more passionate about the health benefits of these crops because I was learning about them. I was more passionate about that versus chefs using them as like a little garnish on a plate. And I also realized pretty quickly I didn't really want to work with chefs. They were a little bit tricky to work with, a little bit quirky, and I knew I wanted to help people to be healthier. So that's kind of what led me in that direction and focusing on the health niche versus working with chefs. But microgreens was really, really the big opportunity that allowed me to jump into entrepreneurship.
Okay. How has the microgreens market evolved over the years?
Well, what's great is 6 years ago, I feel like the industry was just starting to get going. It was just starting to get booming. The videos were starting to come out like, yeah, you could start a business doing this. And now at this point, 6 years later, there's been thousands of microgreens companies to crop up, across the world. And that's awesome because microgreens were these foods that people didn't really know about. So now that we have all these microgreens farmers out there pushing the product and educating people about microgreens and what they are and their health benefits and how they can be used, it's really just helped the industry in general. 6 years in the grand scheme of things, in the grand scheme of an industry, is really not that long of a period of time. But what we are seeing now is people actually know what microgreens are. Like I was just recently on vacation upstate at my family's cabin, and we ran into these two guys who had just recently purchased the plot of land over, like next door. And we're talking to these guys, and sure enough, not only are they from one town over from where I'm located here on Long Island, but they knew about microgreens. I told them that I was a microgreens farmer, and they're like, oh, we know about microgreens. Like we just bought some wasabi microgreens from the farmer's market. But if this was like 5 years ago, they would have had no idea what microgreens were, I'm sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's great to see that, the word is getting out.
And how did your business evolve?
Well, it started in my parents' basement. I had about 3 racks. Most of us farmers, we grow on metro racks, which are like these, wire shelves. And I had about 3 of them. That was the most I could fit in this tiny little corner of my parents' basement. And at that point, I realized that I had a real business. The revenue was coming in, it was profitable. I was starting to make money. I had recouped all of my investment money. And so that's when I knew, like, all right, this is real. I'm liking this. Like, let's expand. So I needed a new grow space. I reached out to, there was this deli in our community that normally you wouldn't have a deli in the middle of like a residential neighborhood, but because it was grandfathered in, it had been here since before the Great Depression. And everybody knew about this deli. Even me growing up, like we would ride our skateboards in the parking lot and we would buy sodas and sandwiches in there. And it had been run down for about 10 years. Just didn't work out for that business. And I reached out to the owner, Artie. It was called Artie's Deli. And I told him what I had going on. And I was like, hey, I want to rent out your space. I want to fix it up and turn it into an urban farm. So he gave me a good deal on it. And I moved in there. He was such a nice guy, great landlord. And I expanded really quickly in that space. I went from 3 racks to 10 racks in a year. And in that year, I had also outgrown that space. And I was doing over $100,000 in revenue in year 2. Yeah, so it was really cool. It was expanding rapidly.
So
And then
that was only the second year of the business, and you were already doing 6 figures.
Yes, yep, I did just
Nice.
over 100 grand in
Yeah.
year 2. So it was great, very exciting. It was an exciting milestone to hit. And then I had outgrown that space at that point. So I then moved into my last farm that I was in, which was a much bigger space, tall ceilings. It was much nicer, a nicer vibe in there. And what happened was I kind of stopped expanding my business locally because I started my YouTube channel and I was just so pumped about teaching everybody about this business. It was like, I just had this passion for entrepreneurship. I had this passion for agriculture. And here I am 2 years into starting my first business I've ever started. And it was actually working. So I was like so pumped about this. And I knew that there was other people out there that had this weird passion for agriculture and wanted to be entrepreneurs. So I was like, all right, let's start a YouTube channel. Let's get the word out. Let's help people. Let's start educating them about this business venture. And that's kind of what I started focusing on at that point. So I had my business very automated. I had employees in place to run the show. And then I was focused on YouTube for a while. This was back in 2020. And so that space lent itself very well to YouTube because it looked very nice. And I didn't end up expanding too much into there, just a little bit, maybe increased. I think at my peak in that space, I was doing maybe $160,000 a year. So I had expanded a little bit. But now I had this whole online thing going. I was educating people. People were learning how to do it themselves. And that was really fulfilling for me. It felt really like I was bringing a lot of value to the table and people were really appreciating my content. So I kind of took that and drove that forward. And now at this point, I had something bad happen with my landlord. He kind of manipulated me in a way and was pretty dishonest with what had happened. Looking back, we were supposed to move to California this past February of 2022. And I sold my business to this young dude who was going to take it over. And my landlord basically screwed that up because he told me that I was going to be able to stay on the property all this time. He's going to extend my lease, move me into a different building that was even better suited for what I was doing. And then once I sold the business, weirdly enough, at that point, he basically said, no, I'm not extending your lease. The business deal fell through. I wasn't able to sell the business. And then he ended up kicking me out just out of nowhere, even though he had been saying that I could stay on the property. So that was really weird. Usually when I expand my business or I move locations, I'm able to just seamlessly transition and move into the next space and transition in a way where my customers don't even, miss out on a week of product. But in this case, it was a little different. So I actually haven't been running my farm all summer It's basically been a nice vacation time for me. So it's been bittersweet, but so that's the way it just had to happen. So I've had a vacation for this whole summer, and now we're building the farm in the basement of this house, which is where I'll stay. And then what's really cool is that my passion for agriculture came here in the garden in the back, but this is my grandparents' house, right? And my grandfather built this back in '59. So now I'm living in the house. I'm hoping to take it over. I'm building the microgreens farm in the basement, and that microgreens farm will be able to pay the mortgage once I'm able to get a mortgage on this house. So I feel like everything's come full circle. Everything happens for a reason. We didn't end up moving to California because this house became available. So just pretty cool.
Yeah, that's very nice. I've been following the story online, and I'm just happy that it worked out this way.
Yeah, me too.
And
I'm happy to
so,
be here.
what are the main things that you want to have on this new farm that you didn't have on the old one?
Well, so what was really nice is like that first farm that was in my parents' basement. If I had to go do something in the farm, I would just walk downstairs and do it. So that's something that I'm very much looking forward to. Me and my girlfriend, we've been running the farm for now about a year because she ended up leaving her job and working with me full time. So she's going to be working the farm a lot. She's really pumped to have it in the basement this time. We're going to have basically, as you build out different farms and you do it a few times, you make certain mistakes along the way. You do certain things where it's like, man, I wish I had done it this way. So at this point, because I've built all these farms for myself, I feel like this farm is going to be the most perfect farm ever. It's going to be in the basement right here at home, and the layout is going to be perfect. It's going to be super efficient in terms of like space and how much we can fit in the space. And then as far as new stuff goes, we're going to start working with a few chefs, which we have not really done before because, like I said earlier, we were more focused on the health side of things. We're still going to do that and service my customers, but we're also going to work with a few restaurants just to change it up a little bit, try some new varieties. We think it'll be fun and rewarding. And then we're also going to start implementing edible flowers is something that we really want to do. So they pair really well with microgreens because now you can bring edible flowers. So the chef, the same chef that you're selling that you're selling microgreens to, and then they could also use them in the bar. So it's just a very symbiotic crop, you could say, to the microgreens. And a lot of microgreens farmers do end up getting into edible flowers as well. So that's definitely something new that we're going to be implementing.
And in terms of equipment, I heard you talking about automatic watering or stuff like that.
Oh yeah, true. That's definitely going to be an update as well. So we've been manually watering for all these years.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a pain in the butt, right? Like you have to do it every single morning, and it's also the biggest source for human error. So like even if I was to hire that out, which I have done in the past, like now it's up to that person to not make a mistake, not overwater or underwater, which can lead to actually a lot of problems. So that is definitely one of the main things, one of the main upgrades we want to make to our systems that we have running in the farm is automating the watering. And actually this past week, we were up in Boston. We were visiting Boston Microgreens. Oliver is the owner of that company. And one of the reasons why I was so pumped to go hang out with him and his farm is because they're using ProMix, which is the same type of potting mix and soil that I use, but they're also doing a flood and drain system that's automating the watering. So it was the first time I had really seen that. Usually if you have a flood and drain system where the water is automated like that, it's typically like hydroponics where you're growing on like grow mats or something like that. So it was really cool to see a flood and drain system, but using a potting mix. And that's probably a pretty similar system to what I want to set up in the future is the flood and drain tables, but still using the soil. So yeah, that was pretty cool to see.
And do you maybe use some HVAC or you don't have the need to do so?
Yeah, we're definitely going to need to do HVAC. And that's actually the part of the process that I'm in right now. We have the basement completely cleaned out. I'm actually buying an electric power washer today because I can't use a gas one in the basement. I'll gas myself out. So I'm getting an electric one today, actually. We're going to power wash the whole basement. That's like the part of the project that we're up to. And then we now have proposals from electricians and plumbers and stuff like that. So once the basement is power washed, then we're going to bring in, we got to upgrade the electric, add new outlets and stuff down there. And then we're going to put in HVAC. So we're going to have like a combo unit. So a AC, air conditioning, and heat in the same unit. So that'll be running the basement. And then hopefully at that point with the climate control, it'll bring the humidity down a little bit as well. But, you know, it always goes this way in a microgreens farm. You need to have a dehumidifier to keep that humidity down.
And since you have like a big following online, did the plumbers and electricians introduce themselves to you, or you still need to find those people?
No, typically like the people who will reach out to me because of my following, it's often companies that have to do with agriculture. So I'll get like lighting companies reaching out to me. Actually, just last week, I have another lighting company who's sending me some samples so I could test those out. So like lighting companies, nutrients for the crops, stuff like that. Tray companies, obviously, but I work with one company that makes all the trays, which is Bootstrap Farmer. I'm a big fan of them. Love their products, and I love their whole team too. I've been able to meet their team and collaborate with them. Super nice people, and they make their stuff here in the United States, which is awesome. So it's a shameless plug for them.
And since you've stopped the production, how are you planning to get the customers back?
Well, my customers have been emailing me, just begging me to reopen, and you know they're patiently waiting.
Okay.
You know, when you have a good relationship with your customers, then you know typically they'll come back in a situation like this. I let them know the whole situation and why I had to close down for a few months and why it wasn't typically what I do, but it was something that had to happen. So they were very understanding. I think they're just eagerly waiting to get their products again. But if you have a good relationship with your clients, they should be pretty understanding. And then also, if you have a really high quality product, it's going to be hard for another company to beat it. So I have some of my customers who have been reaching out saying that they found, you know, sunflower microgreens at a farmer's market upstate, you know, and things like that, but that the quality wasn't as good and that they miss my stuff and they wish they could have my stuff again. So I think they're patiently waiting. And once the farm is back up and running, we have one more vacation for this summer in October. And then when we get back from Mexico at the end of October, then we're going to go into full production again, and we'll be growing and selling after that. So,
and since it will be in your basement, will you have like employees or no?
Well, so at the very beginning, no, but now that my girlfriend is working with me full time, she's planning on like fully taking over the farm. So we're trying to make it, because I have so much stuff going on. I have a lot of projects that I'm working on behind the scenes, that I'm already overwhelmed without the farm. So what we're going to do with her is we're going to just put her in the farm. She's going to be like the farm manager and really just understand how that whole business works. And it's basically going to be like her business to run. Obviously, I'll be here to help and guide her and all that stuff, but she also knows so much about it. She's been here from the start. You know, we started dating when I was still in my parents' basement. So she's seen everything that's happened. She's been here along the way. She's helped out so much. So she knows the whole deal. So she's going to be taking on that fully. That way she doesn't have to go find a job outside the house and work for somebody else. She could work for herself or work for us and be able to stay at home and hang out with our cats and then go down to the basement and get some work done. And we get to stay at home and be together and be entrepreneurs. So it's kind of the dream.
Yeah. And why do you grow the greens in soil instead of hydroponically?
It's really just a quality thing. The crops grow into much higher quality crops when they're grown in the Pro Mix. When they're grown in a high quality growing medium, they just come out much better. And then it's a lot easier to control your grow as well. It's a lot more resilient from like the growing process side of things. It's a lot easier to overwater a grow mat than it is to overwater your growing medium or like your potting mix, because your potting mix can hold on to that water and then give it to the roots as they need it. Whereas, you know, something like a grow mat, The roots are going to be in the grow mat, but the grow mat can't really hold much water. So there's really no like leeway. It's it's a lot trickier. So, but really for me, it's about the quality. I want to grow the highest quality crop I possibly can, and just have it be consistent.
Yeah. And since we mentioned the trays, can you tell us a bit more about I've saw a video where you introduced your Donny Greens trays, like which were green and I think gold. And
Yep.
why did you decide to create your own trays, and if they are available anywhere?
Yeah. So wow, you're really paying attention. There's only one tiny place on the internet that you would even know that those exist, and it's from that video that you saw.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bootstrap Farmer, I've had a great relationship with them basically since I started my YouTube channel. I do a lot of what's called affiliate marketing. So I will basically teach people online, I'll educate them and teach them information. And then if I'm using any sort of materials, if I have any courses that I like or that I've been involved with, seeds, trays, anything like that, I'll just include links in the description of my YouTube videos. That way, it's a quick way for my viewers to gain quick access and see exactly where I'm buying my stuff that I like to use. But then in turn, and kind of like in exchange for the free information that I give them on YouTube, when they click that link, then I get a small kickback, a small commission. If they end up purchasing something through that link, I'll get a small commission back. So that's been great. And I feel like it's just mutually beneficial for all three parties, right? For me, I get to get some passive income going. For the students, they get quick access to the products and they don't have to pay any extra for those products. And then for the people who make those products, they don't have to spend anything on marketing and they get their products promoted. So Bootstrap Farmer was one of my biggest affiliate opportunities. I think their trays are awesome. I think they really are amazing. So I've made videos about those and I help them sell their products. But we've had such a good relationship, and they've actually told me that out of all their affiliate marketers, you can combine all of the affiliate marketers and the revenue that they've brought in and the trays that they've sold, all of them combined, I actually sell more than all of them combined. So I guess that makes the guys over at Bootstrap Farmer happy. So that was kind of an opportunity that opened itself to me, where we made this microgreens tray that was green and gold. So that's my brand colors, green and gold. And it was actually really tricky to make. It's I don't know how much you know about the manufacturing process, but
yeah, I can imagine.
Plastics and stuff, it gets a little crazy, especially when you do that streaking color. So that led to some challenges, but they are fully in production. They're actually almost done being printed at this point. And in addition to just those trays being made and having the Donny Greens trays, we're actually using those in a special product that we're putting together. It's a collaboration product. And actually, this is the first time I'm talking about it on this podcast.
I appreciate
you. Yeah, no problem. So this is going to be called the One Tray Away Challenge. And it's basically this kit that the students will get in the mail, right? They get this kit in the mail.
Okay.
And there's enough supplies in there to grow 4 trays of microgreens. The first 500 people to buy this kit are going to be getting those special Donny Greens trays, the green and gold.
Okay.
And it's not just a kit, though. It's actually a full-on course where I teach them and I walk them through day by day in growing the microgreens. And really, this all came about because as the microgreens industry progresses, some more people are catching on to the ways that you can make money online by teaching. And there's some people teaching out there where I'm hearing some things that they're recommending and it's just not high quality. And I'm worried that people are going to be learning from people that they really shouldn't be learning from and having bad experiences on their first grows. And that just breaks my heart, because if somebody gets into microgreens and they're like, oh, I could maybe do this as a business, or maybe I want to feed my family and be more self-sufficient or improve my health, I want them to have a good experience their first time growing, right? I don't want them to have a bad experience and they're like, oh man, I'm just bad at growing and I'm never going to grow these again. That makes me so sad. So we put together this kit, and then I walk them through every day of the process. I let them know about all these little details that I've learned over the past 6 years being a commercial farmer. I've learned so much just in my own farm and then helping other students along the way and consulting. So I figure it was kind of a perfect opportunity to create the one tray away challenge, where the idea is they're just one tray away to being healthy or more self-sufficient or starting their own business. And so, yeah, that's what it is. It's a little kit that they get in the mail and then a back end course.
And when will this be out?
I think we're going to start promoting it in September, October, and then it should be shipping out in November. So it's really around the corner. And the website that we have set up for it, it's not even live yet. So
Yeah.
if somebody tries to go to this website, it might not even be up and running yet. But when the time comes, it'll be onetrayaway.com. And I teamed up with, so it's a collaboration between me, Bootstrap Farmer, because we're using their trays. And for the first 500, they get the special trays. And then we also teamed up with True Leaf Market, which is the biggest seed company basically for the microgreens farmers. So they're supplying the seeds. And then even though I love the Pro Mix and the potting mix, it's hard to include that in like this type of kit because it only comes in like these big bulk bales. So we also teamed up with TerraFiber, who make high quality grow mats. So right now I'm trying to reteach myself how to grow microgreens, but on grow mats, and running into issues and stuff there. So I'm trying to get this process down where it's kind of foolproof on the grow mats, and then I could teach them that way.
And will you ship to Europe or only the US?
Good question. I know in the start, just to get things moving, it'll be more of like a United States thing, just because of like shipping nightmares. Okay. But I want to get it so we can ship it across the whole world, because wouldn't that be awesome? We can ship them anywhere in the world.
Do you think I could get my hands on the special trays or?
Yeah, definitely. So where are you located anyway?
Now I'm in Prague, but in October I'll be moving to Germany, Stuttgart.
Germany, cool. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, since I'm on the podcast and you're a good dude, I'll definitely make sure to send you at least one kit. We'll send at least one kit out to Germany for you.
Okay, thank you very much.
No problem.
And what about the FarmStar software? What's your goal with this project?
FarmStar software, I was actually just working on that before we got on this call. We're closer than ever. It's been, okay. I didn't realize how much of a project a software project is, but it is I got myself into way more than I thought I was getting myself into. And it's taken drastically longer than expected as well. But again, we're to the final phases of that as well. And I've been testing it. It's live on production servers. So I'm literally using the app. Check this out. You can see on my phone, see that little icon right there?
Yeah.
That's FarmStar. So I have the app on my phone. It's working on the computer and the phone. So I'm just working out like the last little kinks and details, just fixing up some of that stuff. And then once that's all worked out, which I'm right there, then I'm going to, give it out and people will start using it. And then anything else that we run into, we'll be able to fix really quickly. And we'll have this amazing software for microgreens farmers to use. But really, the main point there was we're like all the microgreens farmers are like creating makeshift systems to get everything done. Like up to this day, I've been using Excel, and then I've been using Square for doing the billing, and then I use GetSwift for doing the deliveries. So I'm like all over the place. I wanted to create everything all in one software. So that's kind of what the idea of this was they could put in their crop cycles, and then at the end of their crop cycles, obviously they would result in a harvest, and then those harvestable crops would be put into packaging, which would then be products. And then their customers could go right onto FarmStar, place orders with them, whether it's a one-time order or a recurring order. And then because FarmStar knows all this information about the farmers and how they're growing and their crop cycles, FarmStar, once the order comes in, just tells the farmers exactly what to do on each day to make sure that those orders are ready for delivery on the day that the customer expects it. So it really just automates everything and makes it more turnkey, more efficient, and results in something where the farmers just have to think less to get what they need done, which is always important.
So it removes a lot of pain out of the process.
Exactly. Yep. Less thinking, more doing.
Yeah. So I assume it will be a kind of subscription model or something like that?
Well, actually, I wanted to make sure that Farmstar, like one of the competitors on the market to help farmers with like their crop scheduling and stuff, it's a very high price floor, meaning that just to use the software in the first place is very expensive. So when you're a startup farmer and a startup microgreens farmer, you don't have all this extra revenue to be able to pay for such a big price tag of a subscription every month for that software. So what I wanted to do is I wanted the software to be completely scalable. I wanted somebody who's just starting out to be able to use it, and somebody who's in full production and even doing like $500,000 a year. I want them to be able to use it as well and have the pricing structure scale. I felt like that was the most fair because somebody with a big business is getting much more use out of it as well. So basically the model is because all the transactions are going to be going through Farmstar and automated in that way. Basically, you know how we pay like a small fee for credit cards? So it's usually like 2.9% plus 30 cents.
Oh yeah, that's clever.
Yep. It's going to be just a tiny bit more added onto that, and it'll cover everything. So that way you're only paying when you actually make a sale. So the startup farmers can get in right away and use it. And then the large scale farmers can also use it, and they'll be paying a little bit more to Farmstar. So it's fully scalable.
Okay. And I assume you didn't code the actual app. You hired someone.
I did not code this app. Yes, I hired a team that's been working on it for over 2 years now. It was supposed to take 4 months, mind you. But, you know, these things happen. So yeah, we've been working on it for over 2 years. I have a team, and we're right there. We're almost done. So I'm really excited to get this thing out there and get people using it. And I'm hoping it's going to be done by the time I start my farm back up in the basement here, so that way I could use Farmstar to run my own farm.
Yeah. And so how does it compare to the microgreens mentors?
Microgreens mentors that's a basically educational product that I put together with Dave, who is the founder and owner of Micro Acres, which is a microgreens farm up in Canada. And Dave's an awesome dude. We partnered up and teamed up because we figured, hey, he knows all of Canada. He knows the quirks of Canada. I know the quirks of the United States. Most of the growers are United States and Canada anyway. So we teamed up, and basically we give out one video every month of us talking about microgreens business on a very high level. So everybody who's subscribed to that, it's $100 a year, and they get one video a month. And then we've even been able to bring in guests, which has been working really well also. When I was up at Boston Microgreens in Boston last week, I was actually with Dave. So I got to meet Dave in person because since, you know, the past 2 years we've been doing this product, we've only been talking on Zoom. So now we got to meet up in person in Boston, and that was a blast. And that's actually the episode that's launching for August, but it's actually going to be a week or two late. That's all about Boston Microgreens and their farm and all the consulting, basically free consulting that we did with him and all the stuff that he learned. It's going to be an awesome episode for this one.
Okay. And so when talking about the markets, how much do you think is the US market saturated?
A lot of people, this is such a big topic of conversation, and especially a lot of people who are interested and want to get into this industry. They're wondering if the market's saturated, and everybody's hearing that the market's saturated, like don't get into that business. It's like so not true. It's like the most untrue thing ever. There is so much opportunity out there. It's essentially limitless. Like the industry as a whole is still so new. So it's only just getting started. People still are learning about microgreens and what they are and how to eat them. There's so much opportunity. Like even here on Long Island, I've only seen a few microgreens farmers like come up and get growing, and still like I haven't even felt the effect of another grower near me. Like there's so much opportunity out there. You know, every single restaurant is an opportunity. Every distributor is an opportunity. Every catering company is an opportunity. Health food stores, grocery stores, opportunities. Me, I focused on direct to consumer. So I go right to my customers' homes and sell to them that way. So if there's people living somewhere, then there's an opportunity to sell them microgreens. farmers markets. And then as time goes on and the market does start heading into maturity, it's just going to be a matter of having a higher quality product or using the product in a different way, right? So doing like a salad program where you actually take the microgreens and turn them into a salad and then sell salads. There's so many different varieties of microgreens, right? So there's so many opportunities. You can sell to, you can do like a B2B model where you're selling to a business where like maybe there's an office building nearby and people are going there and they work for a company. You can then go to that company and say, hey, if you want your employees to be performing better, they should be of higher health. You know, if they're going to be in better health, they're going to be performing better at work. So we should do a salad program where I bring in microgreens once a week and sell to your customers or sell to your employees, you know, something like that. So working directly with businesses, there's so much opportunity. Anybody who's saying that the market is saturated is just making excuses and they don't want to put in the work to create a business. That's my feeling.
Yeah. And since you moved your farm a lot, don't you have like problems with logistics? Like you have a customer from the past that's located somewhere and you've then moved your farm far away?
Well, actually, no. So one, I do service a good portion of my local area. So we have a decent sized delivery radius, but I've moved my farm. This is going to be my fourth farm that I'm building now, and all four of them were in the same town. I've always been in Huntington.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I thought you've like moved over the whole New York or
nope. It's always been in the same town. Started in my parents'
okay.
basement, then moved right down the road to Artie's, moved right down the road to Rexer's, and now I'm just across
Yeah.
town at my grandparents' house.
Yeah, okay. So what would you tell people who are looking to grow microgreens themselves?
I would say that you got to get started. I get a lot of DMs on Instagram and emails of people who have all these questions and all these concerns and all these worries about the business, but they've never even grown a tray of microgreens. And I find that so fascinating. So really what you want to do is just get started, start growing for yourself first. You know, learn how to grow the crops, learn how to eat the crops. That way you can better support your customers when you finally get customers. Because if you know how to eat them, you're going to have a better time teaching them how to eat them. So start growing, learn how to eat them, share them with your family and your friends, start giving out some samples and just start small and work your way up. Don't come at it from this big fear-based mindset and coming at it with all these problems. Like a lot of these problems people are just making up in their head. So come at it from an abundance mindset, come at it just thinking that it's going to be a fun little project, you know, buy some equipment and start growing. Take the pressure off. You don't have to start a business first. Just start growing first. And then if you love it, then you can start a business.
So how do you eat microgreens?
So my friend said this one thing to me, the 5 S's, which really stuck with me. And I thought it was really funny. So soups, salads, stir fry, smoothies, and sandwiches. Just great ways to add them into your diet. I call this piggybacking when you're eating something else and you just add microgreens onto it. I even had a customer once who bought a $20 box of microgreens from me and was adding it to their Taco Bell throughout the week. And they said they felt good on it. So that was pretty funny to hear. So piggybacking is my favorite way to recommend using them, just adding them into whatever else you're eating. Smoothies are awesome. That's probably my favorite way, is adding them into smoothies. But mixing them into a salad is great. You barely even recognize that they're there. And then also you can make a salad out of just microgreens. So take a few different microgreens, throw them in a bowl, add some dressing if you like, add some, other vegetables, and you're ready to go.
Okay. Do you have any mentors or advisors?
It's hard to say. None specifically that's like, this is my mentor. Like I call them and ask for advice. Like none of that. Really, I've been able to teach myself stuff over time, research online. But I have been in touch with like certain people who have provided mentorship to me. So like when I was first getting started, the greenhouse distribution company that was nearby where I was buying my soil from, they just happened to have a guy who used to work for a really big microgreens company. And I was able to learn a lot from him in the beginning, which is probably helped a lot in me getting started off on the right foot, using the right equipment, the right supplies, and gaining some of this original knowledge. So he was a good mentor for me for a little bit. But I think over time, as I just grow my network and make friends with new people, I'm able to learn anywhere I go. I learn from my students more than anything because they're doing things different than I am. So I'm learning from their mistakes and just, helping them figure it out. We figure it out together. So I've been able to learn a lot from them. I'm working on a team with Doug Evans, who's a big dude in the sprout world and in the health industry. And we're working on some awesome projects and products right now. So I've been able to watch how he does his thing and learn from him. And we have a bunch of engineers on the team, so I'm learning from them. So just learning anywhere I can, really, but no specific mentors that I'm like directly involved with that in that sense. But I do have this thing that I call like mystery mentors. And this is like somebody who I consider a mentor to me, but they don't even know who I am. So like Gary Vaynerchuk, he was like my first mystery mentor. So I learned a bunch of really good mindset stuff from him. And just being a good person in business, learned a lot from him in the beginning.
And did you like meet him or only from the online stuff?
No, I've never met Gary in my life. He's liked a tweet or two. What's that?
Would you like to meet him?
Would I like to? Yeah, of course. I would love to meet Gary. He's the man. Why not? Yeah. But yeah, I've learned so much from him even without meeting him, right? Just from his free content that he puts out.
I've literally just watched a video from him on how to like grow your podcast or start it or something like that.
Yeah, it's awesome. He has such good info, and he's a great dude and really smart. So I consider him like a mystery mentor. I've taken a bunch of courses, online courses, that's been instrumental in my growth. So every teacher of those courses I consider mystery mentors. And then I would say the biggest one at this point is Russell Brunson. He's my favorite entrepreneur at this point and my biggest mystery mentor. I've learned more from him than anybody else, probably also because I've dove so deep into his content. He's the founder of ClickFunnels. So I've learned all of the marketing knowledge that I know. It's all from him. And then now as I learn how to build funnels, obviously that's him too. So he's been instrumental in my growth and also setting me up for my future growth as well.
Okay. I've read like one book from him. I bought it for I think $4. I forgot what the title was.
What color was it? Was it red, green, or blue?
Green.
I'll show you it. I have it right here. That book that you got was called Traffic Secrets.
Oh yes, that's it. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah, so that's his third book in the trilogy. His first one is .com Secrets, then Expert Secrets, and then Traffic Secrets.
Okay. And so what's your secret to growing your following, since on YouTube you've posted like 2 videos in the past months, but you've grew by a couple of thousands?
Yep. So, well, I guess my secret to growth is really just providing value. And that comes from Gary Vaynerchuk, right? Over delivering value, providing as much value as possible. And that's what I've done on YouTube. I've provided a bunch of value essentially for free. I guess there's some commercials that you have to pay your time for. But it's mainly free on YouTube, just focusing on value and helping people and staying consistent. Valuing people's time, right? Like I could make these videos that are 5 minutes into probably 50 minutes, but there's other YouTube videos like that, especially ones that are teaching microgreens. And I think I want to cut out all the dead space. People's time is valuable. It's the most valuable resource we have. So if I can teach something in 5 minutes and make less revenue from it, I'm going to do that. I'm going to teach them in 5 minutes and sacrifice that way. Because I'd I'd rather take less time, teach them exactly what they need to know. And now they know my teaching style. They know that I come with delivering value. They know that I deliver it quickly and efficiently. And that's kind of just my style. And I think that's helped me to grow because people see that. They see the value. They see how it's delivered. They see it's quick and easy and well understood. And that's been definitely instrumental. But I will say I took a course on YouTube. I took a full-on course on YouTube. It cost me $400. And that was probably one of the most instrumental courses I've ever taken because it was originally called YouTube for Bosses by Sunny Lenarduzzi. I'm not sure if that course is even around anymore. I think she changed it. Not sure. But that was what it was originally called, YouTube for Bosses. And yeah, I mean, that course basically taught me what I needed to know about YouTube. And it's very keyword focused. So I learned how to do research. I learned how to do keywords. I learned how to make certain videos. I learned how to identify a breakaway video. So that was definitely instrumental in my growth as well, just doing YouTube properly.
Okay. What's the future of the microgreens business overall?
Future of microgreens. I think microgreens for farmers, it's the greatest way to get into farming and be able to start a business and be an entrepreneur in the field of agriculture. I think microgreens are just kind of like the easiest, most streamlined way to get in. I think as time goes on, what we're going to see is that people start off with their microgreens company. They build out a nice client list where they're doing their weekly deliveries every week to servicing their customers. And then as they have this list of customers, which is, one of the most important things you have as a business is your list, they're going to expand out from there. So instead of just doing microgreens, they'll start doing lettuces. They'll start doing edible flowers. They'll start doing maybe some eggs with chickens. They'll start doing outdoor vegetables. And now from this one core list that they've been able to build just off of microgreens, now from that pillar, they're able to expand out and go more horizontal into the different services that products that they offer. I think people will get better at providing services to their customers, teaching them how to eat them better, getting them eating more of this stuff rather than just a little garnish, but having them eat more of it at a time. So that's how I see the whole business side of this industry progressing. And then just diversification, doing not just direct to consumer, but direct to consumer, distributor, health food store, restaurants, just doing it all to become a more resilient business. That's always good. I think people are going to get creative with their business models, like doing salad programs, doing things like the B2B model that I mentioned earlier. So I think there's so much opportunity. I think it's ever expanding. And then as far as me and what I want to do for the industry, because I've kind of become a leader in this industry and I want to keep on being a good leader, is I want to get this software done so people can have an easier time running their businesses. I want to do what Russell has done with ClickFunnels, where you get into the 2 Comma Club if you've sold $1 million through a funnel and you get like this big award. I want to start rewarding farmers. So I'll be able to see how much like revenue they've done through FarmStar, right? Yeah. So as people do more and more revenue, I want them to get farmer awards, right? And that's kind of the whole idea behind Farm Stars. We're farm stars. We're like rock stars, but we're farmers. So I want to be able to promote the whole industry, the whole agriculture industry that way, and just blow it up that way, the same way Russell has done with ClickFunnels and funnel builders and stuff like that. I'm sure I'm going to be creating some of my own courses and products because right now I don't even have my own course. I've just been promoting others that I've been involved with. The One Tray Away Challenge is around the corner. So that'll be great for getting people in and started. But yeah, other courses, other products, but FarmStar I see is really a big way where I can support, and especially with just the promotion and the awards. And then I guess from there also potentially as I get better at marketing and funnels, probably helping farmers with marketing and funnels, because that's the big secret in growing a business, right? If you know proper marketing and you have the proper funnels in place, then you can grow your business and get more customers. So.
Yeah. Okay. And will the app be available only in the US or?
FarmStar should be global. I don't see that being as big of an issue because we don't have to ship anything. It's really just, software and sending money and stuff. So yeah, I could see. I'm hoping to have that global as soon as possible. I have to say, I might just launch it in North America to start, Canada, United States, and Mexico to start, because there's so many nuances that we don't think of. Like even just like if we call it like we call our things like states. Like we have our country and then we have states. Like in other countries, it's called different things and like they have different zip codes and there's all these different nuances. So I want to make sure it's working properly first and then start expanding out and getting it to everybody. So, but yeah, that's definitely in the plan.
Yeah. And do you want to add something we haven't talked about so far?
I don't know. I would say just I have so many things in the works right now. I'm building out so many things on like behind the scenes that I would say over time just keep on poking in and checking in on my website. DonnyGreens.com is going to go through a massive makeover and a massive change. And
Okay.
in the future, once that change happens, there's just going to be so much resources on it and just so much resources that it's just going to be
Yeah.
ready for people where they're going to land on this website and be like, wow, there's so much that I needed right here. Now I'm able to, help and improve and move forward. So I would say just keep on checking in on my website, keep on checking in on what I'm doing.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too, man.
So thanks a lot for coming on the show,
No problem.
uh,
Thanks for having me.
and good luck with the new farm.
Thanks a lot. Good luck with the podcast, my friend.
Thank you.